Thank you, Lane. Ron, it's wonderful to be with you, and congratulations to this well-deserved and wonderful award. Governor, it was wonderful to listen to you and your great remarks. How grateful we are to have you as our governor. What a beautiful program tonight, isn't that? I haven't seen anything like this before at one of those programs. We have been to a couple of them, but this is really the top. So, Ron, thank you so much. And the ice cream was not bad at all. Yes, President Monson did not go with me flying the simulator, but we went to Air Force One, and we took a good look at Air Force One together and sat together in the cockpit and enjoyed everything in there. But before we entered, Secret Service really checked President Monson. Well, it's wonderful to be with you, and having General Conference just behind us, I'm reminded of a story told about a general authority coming home with his wife after a full cycle of meetings, and she dropping heavily in an easy chair, kicking off her shoes and sighing, "Boy, what a week. I've never been so tired in my life." "Why should you be tired?" grumbled her husband, the general authority. "Think of me, giving so many talks to so many different audiences. You didn't have to do that." "That's right," agreed the exhausted wife. "But remember, I had to listen to all these talks." So you see what happens in our place. And of course, it is indeed a great privilege to be with you tonight. Harriet and I are delighted to be with you this evening. We feel that we are among the finest of people and best of friends. And Ron, of course, and Janet are great friends, and we love to honor you tonight. Added to that, we have this wonderful opportunity to honor together our dear friend Ron Jibson, a man we love and admire. Throughout the years, it has been our joy to watch him interact with his dear wife and beloved family. Some of them are here with us tonight. We have watched in admiration as he has played and worked with his sons and grandchildren. And of course, his loving relationship with his sweetheart Janet is something I wish I could bottle up and provide to every couple I meet. Janet is Ron's rock, and she rocks. If you ask their children what Janet loves most, they will say, the children will say, being a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. When Ron was serving as bishop, Janet supported him every step of the way. Now that Janet is a Relief Society president, Ron returns the favor. Those searching for relationship role models could learn a great deal from Ron and Janet. I know that Harriet and I have learned a lot from them. It is wonderful to be here to honor our dear friend. I've been to such events a couple of times before, and I understand there is a tradition and even an expectation of some humor without being disrespectful to the honoree. I couldn't think of anything I could say about Ron that would even come close to making fun of him. I respect him way too much. All I could think of were the many good qualities he possesses. Harriet and I are privileged to have Ron and Janet as our direct neighbors. Last year, as you might remember, we had a pretty tough winter with a lot of snow. Now, I can testify that Ron really loves his dear and beautiful wife. With all that snow in our cul-de-sac and those never-ending terrible cold winter days, Ron bought a top-of-the-line snowblower so Janet could work with only the best quality equipment. So, that is Ron. Only the best for his wife. Ron is also a risk taker. I suppose you have to be in order to be as successful as he has been. This was manifest even as a teenager on his very first date with Janet. The reason they went on the date in the first place was because Ron's friends bet him that he wouldn't dare to ask her out. Ron took the risk and succeeded. But perhaps knowing she was way out of his league and that there wouldn't be a chance for a second date, he figured he had only one chance at a kiss. They were on the porch of her house when he boldly stepped forward to make his best move. Unfortunately, for Ron, he miscalculated, lost his balance, falling off the porch right into a prickly thorn bush. Now, this bush survived, and to his credit, what Ron lacked in technique, he made up for in being unforgettable. As I thought of Ron's many impressive attributes, it seemed appropriate to speak about a few of the qualities of leadership that Ron has exemplified throughout his life. Qualities that have contributed to him being a beloved colleague and successful executive. The first traits I want to highlight are those of energy and industry. Ron is a man who has never been afraid of rolling up his sleeves and going to work. And we can see this next door. He has worked as a farmhand, custodian, retailer, project manager, and as a mentor. He loves sports and the outdoors. It is a very special treat to see us looking out the window and see his energy and joy when he plays with his beautiful grandchildren next door in his own backyard. His attention to detail and ability to focus on the task at hand have earned him a reputation for coming in on time and under a budget. He understands the meaning of the words of the ancient philosophers who wrote, "In front of excellence, the immortal gods have put sweat." And they said, greatness develops only at long intervals. In the depth of the Great Depression, President J. Reuben Clark taught that if we can just get into our minds the dignity and the honor of work, no matter what that work may be, most of the ills from which we suffer will be solved. End of quote. It strikes me as very interesting that Ron has worked so long and so successfully in the energy industry because his own personal and seemingly endless energy and industry have defined his life and career. A second trait, or another trait better, that defines Ron is that he puts people first. He respects and encourages them to be unafraid of saying difficult things. Ron's first emphasis has always been about people. He diligently works to instill a culture that encourages and rewards constructive feedback, both critical as well as positive, as an important cornerstone of the business. Ron knows that sometimes the things you least want to hear are the things you need to hear the most. I share with Ron an admiration for the writings and example of Abraham Lincoln. One of the things we both admire about the 16th President of the United States is that he brought people into his cabinet that he knew would not agree with him. We're currently in the midst of a sometimes bitter and biting election year. We witnessed firsthand how rivals say and do things that create wide and deep divides. It was a similar situation in 1860 when Lincoln was elected. His rivals in a bitter campaign said many things that cut deep and left aching wounds. Nevertheless, after he became president, Lincoln nominated his three top rivals to be Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, and Attorney General. When it came time for him to replace the Secretary of War, he even selected a man who once described Lincoln as a gawky, long-armed ape. That takes some character to do that. Lincoln had the intelligence and confidence to know that he needed the best people at his side. People who were leaders in their own right. People who would both compliment and challenge him. These are the same principles to which Ron is dedicated. If you ask Ron what he does, he will answer two words: improve lives. He encourages every employee to incorporate those two words in everything they do and say. One of Ron's favorite quotes is, "A mind stretched by a new idea never returns to its original dimension." Ron encourages an open approach to key decisions and inspires everyone around him to use their talents, intelligence, and resources to improve themselves and the company. Ron is a true example of the adage that life is not about accumulation, it is about contribution. At the end of Shakespeare's Henry V, the legendary king says, "A good leg will fall, a straight back will stoop, a black beard will turn white, a curled pate will grow bald. But a good heart is the sun and the moon, for it shines bright and never changes, but keeps his course truly." This could have been written about our dear friend, Ron Jibson. He is one of whom it can be said, "Here's a man with a good heart that shines bright and never changes." I'm honored to be among those who have had the great privilege of knowing and being influenced by this very good man with a very good heart. He even has a giant of a heart. That's why I congratulate you to this wonderful award. May God bless you, Ron. May God bless your dear Janet. May God bless your family and your efforts to make this world a better place. And may God bless all who understand the value of honest work, caring for others, and inspiring them to become their best selves. Thank you so much, and may God bless you all.